Hello and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger on November 5th, 2023. This episode is proudly sponsored by Hidden Corner Finds. If you're wondering where to do your Christmas shopping at, give them a try, especially if you're in Canada. They have cool toys and action figures, antique goodies, and very retro stuff. Not all expensive too. There's a lot of very well priced stuff, like cute little retro goodies that you can get for your loved ones to surprise them with for Christmas. If you're in Canada, they do combine shipping, and they will probably give you a pretty good deal if you get in contact with them prior to purchasing. So, Hidden Corner Find, check them out. Now, some of you know that I had a tactile art workshop going on this weekend. So, if you missed it, don't worry. We'll have three more. Every weekend in November, we'll have a tactile art workshop. All the details and information and where to find us will be in that short video I posted yesterday on upcoming free tactile art workshop in Vancouver. Come check that out and learn and do some tactile art and say hi to Johnny Tiger if you have a moment to spare on your November weekend. If you guys have been in a relationship, and I'm not just talking about like a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, any kind of human, interpersonal, personal relationship, you have been in arguments, you have been in fights. Now, fighting is a interesting thing because from my culture, from the Chinese culture, you generally, unless it gets physical, it's not generally called fighting. Usually it's called 吵架, and it more means arguing. And when you say fighting, most people in my culture automatically assume that if you fought, that there's something physical, that you got physical, you got beat up, or you beat someone up. So when I first came to Canada, I had a lot of problem with people using the word fight. When people say, "Oh, we had a fight," no, we didn't have a fight. We argued. If we had a fight, then I would have hit you. That's kind of like a bit of a culture shock there with regarding to how the word fight is interpreted. But that's me digressing a little bit. Today we are going to talk about the four no-nos in a fight. Uh, if you want to fight, if you want to argue, it's perfectly normal. In any kind of relationship, no matter it's a parent or children, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or just between friends or co-workers, you're going to fight. And that's normal. But there's the right way to fight and there's the wrong way to fight. If you fight the wrong way, quite often it's counterproductive. Yes, fighting can be productive when you solve problem and when you figure out, okay, we uh we obviously misunderstood each other and or we don't agree on this point and but we can still work together on it or learn to skirt around the issue. That's a productive kind of fight. Okay, that kind of fighting is generally okay. It's fine. But a lot of people, whether it be emotion or ego or feeling get hurt, things get in the way, and the fight become a total waste of time, really. And today we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the art of a good argument, the art of a good fight. Uh, Now, I'm going to preface this saying that this is not a like physical fight. When I say fight in this video, I'm talking about argument, okay, disagreement. I'm not talking about when one person beat up the other person, then that's a completely different kettle of fish. So, how to do a good fight? What is the art of a good fight? Well, when you fight, you want to try to avoid these four commonly triggered minefield. If you walk on these minefields, these one of these four or more than one, then most likely it's going south. It's going bad. This is not going to be a very productive time at all. Okay, so we're going to look at the four no-nos, the four minefields that we should avoid when fighting with our partners and friends. Obviously, if they're not partners or friends, or if you don't care about them anymore, you don't mind that they just go bye-bye and they don't ever talk to you again, then yeah, you don't need to do you don't need to pay attention to this. You can just fight however you like. But if your goal is to still get along after the fight, then you might want to heed these four warning signs, these four things that you don't want to do during a fight. Number one, don't fight dirty. This is very contradictory to my self-defense lesson because when I teach self-defense, I always say fight dirty. Okay? But when you're arguing, when you're fighting with a friend, family, or partner, spouses, don't fight dirty. Okay? Don't do the low blow. Uh, there's an old Chinese say that said, when you fight, don't slap someone in the face. And that is a very good way to put it. Like, when you are arguing with somebody, don't fight dirty. What is fighting dirty? A lot of people, they have their own definition. Oh, I didn't fight dirty. I just told the truth. No, fighting dirty means you use something that will trigger the other person. You use something that the other person is sensitive about against them. Most likely, it's something that you were only privy to because you were let into the confidence of that person, which means you use something that they gave you against them, and that's cheap. Right? That's fighting dirty. Don't do that because the moment you start fighting dirty, it's like the moment one country attack the other country and then start using the things that we're not supposed to. Even during wartime, you start killing civilians, you start using nuclear weapons, you start using chemical weapons, and that turns to a dirty war. The moment you start that, you no matter how right you were, you are no longer in the right. Right? It doesn't matter how justified you feel that you already committed the kind of atrocity that you're not supposed to commit in an argument. Case in point, my ex-girlfriend, she was really bad about that. She was really bad. Like, a lot of times that when we were arguing, she would bring up things like, "Oh, well, you feel this way because your dad was a gangster. That's why you have low moral compass." She would use things like that, or she would say, "Oh well, I guess because you're not from here, and you don't realize that we don't do things that way here in Canada." Like, okay, that's cheap. That's like really dirty fighting because those are things that I am particularly sensitive about. Sort of like if you are arguing about your wife, and it's something about she didn't wash the dishes, and you bring out something regarding her weight that totally unrelated to the argument, but something you know is going to hurt her. And because that is the only reason people fight dirty. You fight dirty because you want to hurt the person. Okay, don't hide behind justification. Don't make it, although I was just telling the truth, she is fat. Oh, I'm just telling the truth. His dad was a gangster. No, okay, you fight dirty because you want to hurt the person, and congratulations. The moment you start fighting dirty, feeling get hurt, and when feeling get hurt, when people get hurt, guess what's going to happen? They won't listen to you. They're going to fight back just as dirty. They're going to hurt you just as bad. So this fight is going nowhere. Okay, so case number one, minefield number one big no-no, don't fight dirty. Number two, don't bring up old grievances. Okay, bringing up old grievances is like one of the probably the most common tactic people do during argument, and it's really one of the probably the biggest no-no in an argument. Why? Because it doesn't go anywhere. It's not productive. Okay, the moment you bring up old argument, old grievances, something that the person did to you 15 years ago, 10 years ago, you are no longer on track. Okay? From this point on, it's them accusing you of this, you accusing them of this, them accusing you of this, and it comes down to who is going to throw the chair across the room first. It's no longer an argument for the sake of solving problem. Now you are creating problem. Right? The moment you bring up old grievances, you are creating problem. Because how often, think back of arguments you have witnessed, maybe your parents, maybe uncle, aunties, maybe friends. How often have you heard this? The argument started out as, "Hey, how come you don't put down the toilet seat after you pee?" And, "Oh, well, how come you don't wash dishes when you said you were going to wash dishes?" Okay, something small like this, and then 5 minutes later, both of them are so mad and talking about things that happened 20 years ago that no one even know about. 20 years ago, you slept with blah, blah, blah. Well, how about 20 years ago, you said this to my mom and my mom never forgave you? Huh? What do you think of that, huh? Then, yeah, this argument not going anywhere. Okay, it's stupid. It's just downright stupid. Bringing up old grievances never solve any problem. In that case, you're when you start doing that, you're looking for a fight. You're looking for things getting broken, feelings getting hurt. Both of you end up not talking to each other. And what worst of all is it doesn't solve any problem, and we'll get to that eventually. Now, the only exception to this is if your old grievances is relevant to what is pissing you off right now. And you are legit, sincere about wanting to come to a solution. Right? Okay, what do I mean by this? If I am in an argument about dishes and I bring up something that said, "Hey, remember that 2 weeks ago we talked about you doing dishes after dinner and I do dishes after lunch. Why are you not holding up your end of the bargain?" That's okay. Yes, it's 2 weeks ago that we talked about this, but it is what uh, I'm addressing right now. And it is something that I want an answer for. Okay, so that is cool. But if I bring up something like, "Remember 20 years ago you talked badly about my mom? What the hell was wrong with you?" Well, that's 20 years ago. This is not relevant to dishes. This is not relevant to anything going on now. Okay, so use your own judgment. When you feel that urge to call up some old grievances, ask yourself, be honest with yourself, is this really relevant to what's going on right now? Is this going to solve the problem? Or am I just wanting to throw this out there because I feel my feelings are hurt and I feel like I want to hurt the other person's feeling? If it's the latter, then leave the room, don't do it, don't say anything, because at this point you're not solving the problem, you're adding to the problem. Number three, and this one is actually a bit of a personal pet peeve of mine too. So it's quite personalized. Number three, don't burn bridges. What is burning bridges when you're having a fight or an argument? It's when you make finality statement, final statement, or give ultimatums. when you don't mean to, right? A lot of time when people are fighting, they'll say, "Well, okay, maybe we should never see each other again, huh?" Let's be honest. In your head, you are hoping and you think you know that that person said, "Well, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to see you." And you are using this kind of statement, this kind of ultimatum, this kind of very serious something, we're going to break up or I'm going to go kill myself kind of statement, uh, to win an argument. And that's actually a very cheap way of winning an argument because the other person kind of have to play with you, have to play along the line of thought that they are leading them only if they are nice. But don't do this because the more you do this, the more the other person will feel kind of violated because you're forcing them down a track of thought, a line of thought that they really don't want to. So if today I'm having a fight with you and you say, well, if you're so unhappy, then maybe we should break up. I'm going to, well, okay, look, that's not what I'm saying. Right? I'm sorry. I'm not unhappy. Okay, everything's fine. And then a week later, we're having another fight, and you come up with, well, if you are so unhappy, maybe I should kill myself. And I'm going to go, no, 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 no. Well, look, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm saying. Fine. Okay. It's okay. Everything's fine. You keep doing that to me. After 4 weeks, suddenly it's going to reach a point where you say, if you're so unhappy, why don't we break up? I'm going to say, fine, let's break up. Go. Get out of here. Right? Because a person will only get pushed so far with something like this. So don't burn your bridges by making a statement like this because one day you will suddenly find that that bridge is gone. Suddenly that is no more. That ultimatum going to come back with the answer that you really didn't want, right? I did that to my sister. Okay, I'm not proud of it. I did that to my sister, and friends too. I had people in my life that whenever you piss them off, they say they want to go kill themselves. It got to the point where I said, okay, fine, go, 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 go. If you're so weak that just because I'm yelling at you, you want to go kill yourself, then you're not going to make it. Go kill yourself then. Go. Guess what? They're still here. uh, it's just embarrassment all around. So don't make finalized statement. Don't give ultimatum. Don't burn bridges. Right? When you're having an argument, don't do that because it's going to force a person into saying something very unpleasant eventually, and you won't like it. As the same train of thought, we keep saying don't. Here is a do, okay? That sort of run along the same line of logic. When you're fighting, try to build bridges, try to build steps to let the situation calm down. Try to build the bridges and build steps to let the person have a way to retreat, have a way to feel good. What do I mean by that? Okay, let's say we're arguing. Uh, if I feel, okay, this argument has run its course, it's time to wind it down. Either me or my partner, actually, Kitten is very good about that. Uh, I am that asshole that stay angry for a long time. So it take a little bit to piss me off. I don't get angry easily, but once I get there, I kind of stay there for a long time. So Kitten usually is very good with winding down the argument and sort of soothe my uh, fur, like uh, pacifying me by saying, look, I'm sorry. I that was uncalled for. I know I got carried away. I no, we'll do better next time. Things like that. So this is not saying that this is not the same as admitting you're wrong, right? This is more like hey, look, okay, we both raised our voice. I'm sorry, I raised mine. I let's just wind it down. Let's go back to solving the problem. Okay, so one person have to be the bigger person and let that person be you. Okay, in a fight, in an argument, someone have to wind it down. If both parties are so adamant and stubborn, then this doesn't get anywhere. But if you give your partner a way down, usually, uh, especially if the argument has already run its course, they will be able to wind down and everything will go back to nice and normal. If you don't, if both sides going to be stubborn, then you're going to run into this situation where you don't talk to each other for days. And you lay in bed, you don't want to look at each other, you pretend each other's not there, and things get really awkward really quickly. So don't let it fester like that. Always build a bridge, build some steps to let the person down gently. Last but not least, right? Last but not least, the one thing to avoid when you're arguing or fighting is fighting for the sake of fighting. Okay? Fighting for the sake of fighting. When you fight with your friend, family, or partner, always, always be solution oriented. Okay, it's fine to be pissed off. It's fine to be angry. It's fine to be hurt. But don't lose your sight on what is it that we are trying to solve here. Because if you lose sight of your goal, of what you're trying to do, then you just wasted a lot of energy and hurt a lot of feeling, said a lot of things you shouldn't say for nothing, right? This actually happened uh, to me one time. I asked my friend, I said, hey, this project that you and George and I were supposed to be doing, uh, George is not doing his part. Can you call him and sort of remind him and then find out? I mean, if he's sick, then it's okay. We can take over and just to find out like what's going on, right? Because I don't want to do his part and take the credit and end up uh, hurting his feeling if he's already done some of it, right? So my friend called George, and then half an hour later he called me back, and he's all mad and stuff. And I'm like, what happened? He said, what do you mean, what happened? I called George and I told him he didn't do anything and he's letting us down. I told him, I gave him a piece of my mind, and he argued with me, and we argued, and he hung up on me. And I was like, okay, so that's too bad, but like, well, what's what's about the project? Like, should we do it or should we not do it? Should we wait for him? And my friend, I don't effing know. I don't know. We were arguing like we didn't even talk about the project, and I just palmed my face. I was like, dude, that's the whole point of you calling him is to find out what we should do about the project. You were so caught up in your own emotion, and you want to basically bitch him out and you didn't solve the problem. So now what? Now what? Now what are we supposed to do? Okay? So don't let that happen to you. When you are fighting, when you're arguing, always keep the end goal in mind. Don't lose sight of it. Don't argue. Don't fight just for the sake of fighting. It feels satisfying at the time, but it's not productive. It's not going to be good for either side. So to recap, the four no-nos in a productive, healthy argument, healthy fight is don't fight dirty, don't go for someone's weak spot or trigger. Right? Number two, uh, don't pull up old grievances that have absolutely nothing to do with what you're arguing about. Number three, don't make statements that are going to be burning bridges. Try to build bridges and rather than burning them. Right? Try to build ways to build connection, find ways to calm the situation down, rather than just making statements that's going to give them ultimatums or forcing them into a corner. And don't burn bridges. That's number three. Number four, always keep the goal in mind. Be solution oriented when you fight. Don't fight for the sake of fighting. When you fight for the sake of fighting, both sides get hurt for nothing. At the very end, I want to leave you guys with a piece of wisdom that my uh, nanny Maru told me when Kitten and I got into our relationship, and I think it's probably one of the best relationship advice I've ever heard from anybody. And it's very simple. In a relationship, it's not about right or wrong. Learn to apologize.